Hello, everyone. My name is Ole Kagan, and I'm the Community Engagement Coordinator with LA County Library, and I welcome you to Microsoft Excel for intermediate users. Before we get going with today's event, I'm going to take care of some housekeeping, do the land acknowledgement, and tell you what we have coming up next with our Microsoft Office workshops. So if you can hear me and see the slide on the screen, then you're good to go. However, if you're having trouble hearing me or seeing a slide, do let me know in the chat and I will do my best to assist. If you'd like to listen to this presentation on the phone, you can do that by calling 1-699-900-6833 and using the access code 859-4373-2609 and the passcode 123123. Additionally, automated closed captioning is available on Zoom in case you'd like to read along with the presentation. To enable that, you would press the CC button in your Zoom window. Now, you may have noticed that the mics and video for attendees of the program have been disabled. That's so that everyone can focus on our presenter. We do, however, welcome your questions and comments. Questions should go into the Q&A box. That's the one with a single speech bubble, and comments can go in the chat. The reason for that is that the Q&A makes the questions easy for us to see, and the chat sometimes moves pretty fast, and we don't want to miss your questions. So go ahead and put questions in the Q&A box. This presentation is being recorded, so don't worry about missing anything. You will be able to review it at your leisure on YouTube once it's posted, and you will receive a link to the video recording of the session via a follow-up email in the next few days. One other note about this class in particular, I know in the past for our Microsoft Office workshops, folks have tried to keep up with us while we were teaching the class on their own computer. I would say for this one, avoid doing that just because we're going to start with files that are already created, and there's not going to be a way for you to recreate the file immediately in order to follow along with what our teacher is doing. So I would say wait for the follow-up email where we can send you the starting files and then follow along with us via the YouTube video. All right. And with that, let me go ahead and move on to our land acknowledgement. The County of Los Angeles recognizes that we occupy land originally and still inhabited and cared for by the Tongva, Tataviam, Serrano, Quiche, and Chumash peoples. We honor and pay respect to their elders and descendants, past, present, and emerging, as they continue their stewardship of these lands and waters. We acknowledge that settler colonization resulted in land seizure, disease, subjugation, slavery, relocation, broken promises, genocide, and multi-generational trauma. This acknowledgement demonstrates our responsibility and commitment to truth, healing, and reconciliation, and to elevating the stories, culture, and community of the original inhabitants of Los Angeles County. We are grateful to have the opportunity to live and work on these ancestral lands. We are dedicated to growing and sustaining relationships with Native peoples and local tribal governments, including, in no particular order, the Fernandino Tataviam Band of Mission Indians, the Gabrielino Tongva Indians of California Tribal Council, the Gabrielino Tongva San Gabriel Band of Mission Indians, the Gabrielino Band of Mission Indians Quiche Nation, San Manuel Band of Mission Indians, and San Fernando Band of Mission Indians. To learn more about the First Peoples of Los Angeles County, please visit Los Angeles City County Native American Indian Commission website at lanic.lacounty.gov. All right, and let us go ahead and move in to letting you know what our next Microsoft Office workshop is going to be. If you're interested in learning Microsoft PowerPoint and have never used it or are a very basic user, we've got you covered with Microsoft PowerPoint for Beginners coming up on Wednesday, September 17th at 11 a.m. Once again, most of our classes are held on Tuesday. This class is going to be held on Wednesday, September 17th at 11 a.m. Lack of PowerPoint knowledge holding you back? In this approachable class, we'll get you started by teaching you to make a photo slideshow, create a short informational presentation, and build a deck of flashcards for studying. I'm going to post a link to the registration in the chat right now. And of course, you can register right now or wait for our e-newsletter, which comes out every week on Thursdays. If you're not receiving it, get in touch with one of our libraries and input your email into the system, and you'll get all of our virtual events emailed to you every Thursday, usually every Thursday morning. If you're interested in finding out more about our virtual or in-person events on your own, you can visit our website at lacountylibrary.org and head over to the events button on the top right-hand side. You can click on that, and you get all the events in person and virtual for kids, teens, adults, and older adults. Those are all free, of course. And if you're just interested in virtual events like this one, you can hover over that events button. You get a little virtual programming drop down. Click on that, and you get just these Zoom events, also for all ages and absolutely free. And now, without further ado, I would like to get us started with Microsoft Excel for intermediate users. And to teach you about Microsoft Excel, we have Julian Zamora, who is our literacy coordinator for LA County Library. He works on a variety of projects, including digital literacy. And today he'll be teaching you all about the slightly more advanced features of Microsoft Excel. Julian, the stage is yours.
Thank you so much, Oleg, for that great introduction. And hi, everybody. Welcome to Microsoft Office Workshops, Excel for Intermediate Users. I'm the Adult Literacy Coordinator here with Adult and Digital Services, and I'm in charge of digital literacy, including AI workshops, webinars, and also assisting with these Excel classes, among other things. So let's get started. If you missed the first class, we did provide the previous link in the chat, but please feel free to comment or send tips in the chat or even the Q&A, and Oleg is going to be assisting with answering those questions. As Oleg mentioned, just try to follow along. Most of these tables I've created already, and so we really just want to let you know about the formulas and some of the different tips that you can use for Excel. So I'm going to go ahead and go off camera so you can concentrate on the screen and the Excel spreadsheet. So let's get started. Okay, we're going to be covering 3 different topics today. It's going to be tracking sales data by region. I'm going to show you how to create a nice looking dashboard. So you can print that out and it really looks nice graphically. And finally, we're going to plan a large project and help you with some tools for you to be successful. So the purpose of tracking the sales data is to easily view your sales and data and make decisions based on this data. We'll go over the data tab, formulas, and also some sort options. In this presentation, I highlighted in yellow on the right of the screen the formulas and the functions that I'm going to be showing you, just so that you can follow along and remember these closely, because it does give you a little bit of some formulas. So here we go. So I did create a table, as you can see here. For those of you who don't know how to create a table, you just click on Control T and it's going to create these nice tabs at the very top where you can sort some of these columns. What we're first going to start with is the total sales revenue. For example, this is a fake company that had sales from January through July. And on the right, as you can see on the column F, which I highlight here, these are the units sold. This is the price. I also included, apologize, I also included the dates, the type of item that was sold, the different region, and I just created these. And so we're going to try to figure out how to start the formula. This is the multiplication formula. And it's really cool because once you do one, Excel is really smart and automatically will fill in the rest of these cells as a column going down. So let's go ahead and start as a multiplication formula. As you can see here, it's a equal sign. You start with the start cell, the cell that you want to be multiplied. This is going to be the number 5. So you put in the corresponding cell numbers, which is F is the column and the row is 2. You you type in the multiplication sign, which is an asterisk, and we tell Excel that we want to multiply it by this G2 by the $3. So it's going to be column G and again row 2. And as you can see here, it did highlight to confirm which cells I want to multiply. And all you do is just press enter. So as you saw there, once I press enter, it created or gave us the answer $15, which checks out. And it automatically filled in the rest of the column moving down. And this table has 100 different rows or items to keep it simple. But when you're dealing with, like for example, sales data for your company or whatever you're working with, you're going to have thousands of entries. And so, these are probably going to be already pre-filled, but that's the first formula that we wanted to look at. We can also look at total sales. We're going to go ahead and do it kind of the old school way. I created these tables here on the right side for myself. These are just kind of for yourself to see, to answer some of the questions that I'm going to be posing. What you want to do is we're going to do the summation formula, which you see here in yellow. It's the second one. We're going to add this function. So equal sign, always input equal sign. We tell Excel that you're going to be including a function or a formula. We're going to pick the total sum. It's already here, and it gives you a bunch of different options, but we're just going to do sum. And what I want to have for total sales, we want to add the first cell, as you can see, $15 all the way down to 101. So we're going to actually input it as like I showed you earlier. We're going to do H. Let's make sure it's all in caps. H starting cell, which is 2. Remember, this is the column and the number and the row, and it does highlight, which is great. We're going to do a colon, and we're going to tell it that we want it to count all the way to 101. And as you can see, it highlighted that column for you so that you can double check. I'm going to scroll down, and it did include the last entry there. And you just pressed enter. And it gives us the total sales revenue, really easy. If you're familiar with Excel, this should be really easy, but I kind of wanted to show you that just to start off. You can also kind of cheat down here, which is really great to use if you're doing something really quick and want to check something without having to write in the formula. If you highlight the whole column that you wanted added, down here on the very right bottom, you can see the sum. It's kind of hard to see, but it'll give you the total, 2,377. It also gives you the average, $23.37. So there it is. We actually checked with it, and it does provide us with the correct information. So let's go ahead and try the next function. It's going to be the average. Again, we're just going to, in the cell, click equal sign. We're going to type in average. Again, use those parentheses, and the parentheses are to tell you what the starting and ending cells will be. For the average formula, you start with the same thing, the starting cell and the ending cell. We're going to look at H2, again, colon, and H101. Finish the parentheses, press enter, and there you go. It gives us the average of total sales, which is great. So here, what we can do is I recommend, because you're going to be presenting and using this data to make decisions, you can make your own tables. I created this table because I wanted to see the different products sold by region. So these are the different regions, and I want to have total sales. The easiest way to do this, or one of the ways to do this, would be to sort by region here. As you can see, this column shows you region. You click on this drop-down menu, and you can sort from A to Z. So this will sort um, by alphabetical order all the sales from East region. What you can do is you can, and I'm looking at total sales. So what we can do is we can just highlight instead of putting in the formula, we can just highlight from here to there, from H2 all the way down to H28 where it completed, and that'll give us 538. So I'm just going to put these in really quickly so you can see how I make these numbers up or where I get these numbers from. Again, we're highlighting from the north section, region to the end of the north. So you can see there, north to north. And you can color code these if you want. You can highlight and color code to make it easy on yourself as well. But then we're going to get a bunch of coloring, which is fine. It just depends, but when you're dealing with thousands of entries, I wouldn't color code these just yet. And so the south, it gives us 730, 773. Okay. And then finally, we're going to do west, total 550. Okay. And if you have a total here, you can actually, to make sure this matches, you can highlight this total sales and do auto sum. Oh, this gives us a different number. Okay. I probably messed up at some point, but that's okay. You can always go back and double check to make sure. Oh, actually, you know what? That's the north one. I didn't have it correctly. The north one is 476. There we go. There we go. It matches up. Okay. So you can go down, same thing by region. Again, you can highlight and you can do average sales. It'll give us the average sales on the bottom here. I'm circling it with my cursor. I hope everybody could see that. And you just type in your information here. Let's say we want it by month. We want to see how many sales are by months. You can sort the date here. You click on the drop-down menu at the top of the column and you can sort. You can go by, well, you can just go by alphabetical order, but you can see again, all the February is nice and organized, all the January. So it's really great, this sorting. And you can go ahead and just fill this information down by total sales. Let's say you want it by type. Okay, you go to this column, pretty self-explanatory. You can categorize by different type. Like I just made these up. These are by pants, different shirts, shorts, and socks. You can also custom sort, which is really great as well. What you can do is you can highlight the table. To highlight the table, and we're going to copy it onto another sheet, another worksheet, is you want to kind of drag or hover your cursor in between this line right here at the very top column on this row, and it should change into this image. It has the arrows pointing everywhere. If you click once, it'll highlight your whole table. This is really convenient when you're dealing with thousands and thousands of entries. Yeah, somebody asked, can you sort by two columns? Yes, so I'm going to show you that right now. So we can actually sort that here. You go up, so once it's clicked, you go up to data. Here's the ribbon, as we call it, at the very top. You click on the data tab and you want to filter, custom sort. Oh, actually, you can go over here. I like to go up this way. It's kind of the same thing. You can click on A to Z sort on the main home tab and click on custom sort, and this pop-up window will come up. You can pick two different, so let's go ahead and sort by two different items. I like the type because I want to see which item is really popular, for example. And then if you want to add another sort, You can also add level, and you can choose, let's say, by region. Okay. Once you can also change the values and the order. Let's just keep it really simple by typing region. You click OK, and it'll sort by what we asked it to. So first it sorts it by the type. So it went ahead and sorted all pants, as you can see here. And then within that sort, it actually sorted also by region really nicely and organized for you, which is really convenient if you want to look up something quickly. Again, it did it by type. As you can see here, all the shirts are organized. And within those shirts, right, I'm just going to highlight this so you can see. Here we have all the East, North, South, and West. As you can see, West didn't sell that many shirts. Looks like it's pretty even between East, North, and South. Another really cool feature is X lookup. Here, let me zoom out a bit so you can see what I'm talking about. Is let's say you want to look up an invoice number, and let's just go ahead and organize this, sort this really quickly. Let's say you don't have time to sort because there's thousands of entries. This X lookup is really convenient so you can find things on the table or ranged by row. For example, if you're looking for the price of an automotive part by part number, if you're looking for an employee name based on their employee ID, you can type in the ID here and we can assign a formula or a function so we can look it up easier. So this is the formula here that I have highlighted. So we just click on the cell. Again, we want to type an equal sign. We're going to type in the function, lookup. Want to use those parentheses because we're going to tell it exactly what to look up. So this is a little bit more advanced, but we want to click on this cell right here because this is where we're going to be typing in and looking up. Essentially, it's a search cell. So once you click that, you type in comma. You start with the start cell of where you want to get that data from. So it's going to be here, we're going to be looking at the second column because that's where all our invoices are. So B2, B2, colon, and then N, we know it's B101, nice and easy. Again, with the comma. And the reason we want to look up those invoices, we want to see, for example, the total of that invoice specifically. And so we're almost doing like a double sort in a sense, because one, we're assigning it to look up the invoice column, and also we can, I mean, we can choose any one of these that we want to keep it easy. Let's go ahead and write the total. So we just have to, again, do the start cell, end cell, really easy. H2 colon H101. And then we want to close off that parentheses to tell Excel, okay, we're done. And then click enter. So this is really convenient. Here we have invoice 1, 15. Let's say I'm looking for invoice 55. You press enter and it shows you the total price that that invoice created. So we're going to go down and double check that invoice 55, and there it is, 12. So XLOOKUP is a really great function um, to find things really quickly. You can also technically use a search bar, but if you're assigning a ton, here you can do a lot of different, you can do a bunch of these. You can copy paste, and you can use, let's say you want to look up just by other things like I mentioned, like dates. When you're dealing with a lot of text or descriptions, you can also do that as well. So it's a really great feature that you should use for Excels and specifically for figuring out data sales for by region and things like that. All right, I'm going to look at the questions really quickly. Let's go to our next kind of feature, our pivot tables. So we started off by our data here, our data set table, and I created these tables, but that takes a long time. There is a faster way to create these tables just by making pivot tables. So they're interactive and you can quickly summarize large amounts of data. Again, we're going to highlight the total table. So we're going to copy our table. We're going to click on Insert at the top on our ribbon. Click on the Insert tab, and the left side here is Pivot Table. So we're going to click on Pivot Table, and it gives you, you can change the name of the table. I'm just going to keep it Table 1. And yeah, we're going to go ahead and insert into a new worksheet and press OK. So this created a worksheet down here. I'm gonna just move this over here. And what you want to do is on the very right side, it gives us these fields. And so the same thing we can do is we can look up or have us show us the information by type and let's say total. And it created this nice table and it automatically generated the totals and we don't have to do formulas, none of that stuff. What you can do is you can copy these pivot tables, just Control C, and let's just copy a few of these down. Oh, let's go back. Sorry about that. And you can do the same thing. I'm going to head back to our original table here. So this one also did average sales. So instead of having to, formulate the average sales, we can go to our nice pivot table here and we can change the type or the total. So in this field down here, we can change the total over to average. And to do that, you have to click on the field settings. And here it gives us a lot more options to work with. But I'm just keeping it simple. Let's do average. You click OK. And it automatically generated the averages. So you can see the power of pivot tables. They're really convenient, especially when you're trying to answer a lot of questions for yourself, for your company, with the data set that you're working with. Again, so all I did here, I just copied it over, but I'm going to change this pivot table. Instead of by type, I want by region. I really like that region because that's probably the number one question that you may get. Which region has the most sales? Really simple right there. And this one, the bottom one, I can change it again. Or if you like that one, you can kind of work with that one. Let's just go ahead and copy this down. So move this down a bit. And by region, but instead of total, again, we're going to average it out. I like the average function. So we're going to click average there. Really simple. There we go. So now it made us nice tables that, we didn't have to create. We did create the pivot tables, but Excel automatically makes those, comes up with those formulas. So let's go ahead and answer the question. This kind of going into the second part of the presentation is building a simple dashboard. And a dashboard is a simple and visual representation of data, and it makes it easy to view and is aesthetically pleasing for presenting a lot of the data in a quick way. I recommend creating the pivot tables and then from your original data, right? This is the data, and then creating the dashboard afterwards. So let's do this one since this is the most common by region. What you want to do is highlight your pivot table and we're going to create a pie graph. So we're going to go input. We're going to create. So insert. Make sure, right here we have this highlighted. And we're going to, if you already know which chart you like for something like a total, a pie graph works great, works well. You can also click on recommended charts and Excel will give you examples of different pie charts or just different charts in general. And since we're looking at the pie chart specifically, I like doing the 3D pie, just looks a lot better. And there you go. So this information is linked to this pivot table here. And what's great about this dashboard or this pie graph is you can change the information here. As you can see, you can change the color and the style. It just depends what you like. You kind of click on something. You can also change the color if your company has, specific branding color, things like that. You can change that to your liking, and also data labels. Sometimes when you create a pie graph or other graphs, it doesn't have these labels clicked already. It may show like this, blank, to make it easier for yourself. Click on data labels. Oh, it didn't do it. Let's see. Let's see. Maybe it has to do with when I changed the information. There we go. Actually, I like this one. See, and when you click on data labels, there we go. You can actually see it. You can also change this as well, so you can keep it organized for yourself. Total sales by region. Okay, really easy, really great. So this is linked to that one. Let's do this one. Let's go ahead and just highlight it. You click on insert. Let's do recommended charts. Let's do a line graph. This one, or a column, sorry, column. Let's see, you can choose different ones. Let's just choose that first one. Press OK. And these you can just move within your worksheet. They're not they're not on specific cells. They're almost like in front of the cell. It's like importing a picture. And so you can change it again. You can change the style. Sometimes with some thicker lines, graph lines, it's easier to see everything. And there you go. So with this, you can easily view more information visually. For the sake of time, I'm just going to do these two for now. But what's cool within some of these is, let's say, we're answering the question, which region, or let's say, for example, here the bottom one, which region should we make more of? Or which product should we make more of? Looking at this table here, you can see that pants and shirts really um, are more than shorts or socks, and you can make decisions based off that. Here at the bottom, total sales by region. It's not showing the. There we go. So this is kind of what I was looking for. Total sales by region. Let's say you're making a decision, where can we hire more staff to support our sales? In the green, it's a little bit small, but east looks like it's kind of taking, leading the way, followed by west, north, and south. And so you can kind of make those decisions based on this information. Let's do one more. Let's go ahead and do by type again. Let's do a different graph. So insert, I'm going to do recommended charts. Let's do a line graph. You just kind of see. Actually, this would work better if you're looking for time on a time one. But let's just do another bar. Um, actually, let's change this one really quickly. Oh yeah, there we go. So I can double click on here. Actually, let me click on this row one. Oh, no, that's not what I want. Yes. Okay, there we go. I was looking for this. So let's go ahead and change instead of the type. We can change. Let's unclick type, and I want the date. So these are the months. Just go this down. There we go. As you can see here, the average total months. Let's go ahead and make our chart. What the line graph works well with dates, as I mentioned earlier. Let's click that one. So this one works well. We can see from January, sales were increased, kind of peaked at March, went down, and kind of went down through July, right? So that may be a seasonal thing, whatever. This is kind of average sales. So that's great. You can really see that information. What's great with these two is you can actually copy these. And let's say you can exclude some of these information by clicking on, where is it? Let's see. You can actually exclude some of these. Table. Or was it here? I actually forgot how to do that. I apologize for that. But you are able to adjust these within. Let's say you only wanted to show pants and shirts to compare. You can actually exclude some of these other ones as well. So with these dashboards, you can remember to think about branding, think about the data that you have, and think about which really which either it's a pie graph or a column graph or a line graph, which one works for the data that you're presenting. If you kind of do most of them, that works well too. When you're printing this, for example, if you wanted to have it in a presentation, you can copy these onto a new sheet down here. Let's go ahead and do that just really quickly. And you can move these around. Oh, I don't know why I did that. I'm just copying, moving it into it. Right. There we go. Right. Just going really quick. Just copying and pasting. And that's copy V for those of you who don't know. Let me see. I did the same one. Sorry about that. Doesn't like me today. Let's see. There we go. Okay. You can also, I recommend, if you can type within the cell and title it something if you wanted to. But to make it easier, you can always just create a text box up here by inserting, and you can create text box and your ribbon and click on insert. And at the very right, you can click on text box. Here, just click anywhere, and you can start typing. Example text box, and you can create the text really big. You can highlight it. If you highlight it, these nice tools will come up. Right, you can make it different colors. Get yellow, right? Different things. But to print is you can just click on File and Print. You want to make sure that let's say I want to print to PDF, and there we go. So it makes it nice and visually appealing. If you have both, a lot of different, like a huge dashboard, you can fit it onto one page, or you can do different options depending on what you're looking for as well. For some reason, this is here. I think this is from before. Oh, here we go. So this is kind of a visual for yourself for this presentation. So pie graph, this works for percentages as well, or totals, and the line graphs, as I mentioned earlier, from smallest to largest, or type and things like that. So it really just depends what you're looking for. Obviously, if you're printing this, I would get rid of that. I'm looking at some of the questions. Thank you, Oleg, for answering so far. Appreciate that. Another interesting tool that you can use, very similar to the pivot tables, right? Where we got the information from our data tables and created Excel automatically created these formulas for us by picking and choosing what type, what column you want in there. You can also create slicers. These are really cool because they're more interactive and it's a lot less work. Again, I just copied our original data onto a different tab worksheet down here. I'm gonna go ahead and highlight our table, and we're gonna click on Insert at the very top of our ribbon, and it's right here on the left. It's a pivot table. So these are, I'm sorry, not pivot table, slicers. Let's go Insert, and where are our slicers? Okay. Oh, there it is, right here. It's towards the right. So this is very similar to pivot tables, and you can pick and choose which um, information you want highlighted. Let's go ahead and do date, region, total. Okay. So it created 3 pop-up windows, and based on these windows, um, depending on what you choose, it will change this data table and show you what you're looking for. So for example, let's say I want only to look at sales data from January. it changed and shortened and got rid of all the excess information and only showing us our data. So if you're looking for something really quickly, this is great. It only highlighted January. Let's say it includes all the different types of material and also all the regions. Let's say you only wanted to see just North region. So there you go. So it defines or refines. It's almost like searching, but it does it in table form. These are called slicers, and these are really great to use. You can also do, for example, two things at once. Let's say you wanted both January and March. You just click on Control and you select um, you hold down the control button on your keyboard and click on another one of your options. So in this, for example, let me unclick. Let me unclick. And to kind of clear the data, you can click on this tab on the clear field. As you can see there, it looks like a glass, a hourglass. You can go ahead and unclick. And actually, let me clear that second share video again. So if let's say I want January, I click once, and then I also want to include February. So I hold down control and then click on February. So here, as you can see, it's highlighted. It's showing us all data from January, February. I don't like how that's sorted, so I'm going to sort A to Z. Then you do here. It's not doing it. You should be able to sort this. Maybe if I highlight it, let me see. There we go. Okay. So that's really great. And it's interactive. So you can unclick and to just clear format, you can just clear there. So these are great for I'm just doing something quickly, quick filtering that you don't have to kind of mess with your original data. You can just kind of copy that over. Really, really great feature. Okay, let's move on to the next and final project. So well, using Excel, it's really useful for creating large projects to make it easier to manage. A project gives your team an idea of when tasks should be completed by and what things are not completed. So this is a sample, very easy table. Again, if you just type in information on these cells and do Control T, that'll automatically create these tables with the headers. And we highly recommend those because you can organize these headers. Let's just do it by tasks. There we go. So you want to, when you're creating, you create your tasks, your different columns and headers. This is just by tasks. You can see who it's assigned to, which employees. You want to create start dates and end dates, so you give um, your staff know when things should be started, when there's deadlines. You could do percent completed. A status one is always great, and then I'll go ahead and talk about more of those. If you let's say you want to type in yes or no, if things are uploaded, you can just kind of organize that. Also reviewed by. Okay. We're going to look at two different functions. The first one is uh, uh, this neat feature called data validation. And so here we're going to create a drop-down menu. And we went over this in the first video, but this is really useful for here. So what you want to do is highlight your, actually, we don't have to highlight yet. We can actually do one cell. What you want to do is, for example, status. I created the list already. So we're going to click a drop-down menu list of not started, in progress, halfway, almost done, or completed to give so that when your staff or employees start, they can click in the cell and they can automatically click on the drop-down menu. So you can create this list elsewhere. It could be even on another tab. For ease of use, I just left it here. But if once you were going to share this, I wouldn't have this here. I would have it on another tab. But you don't want to get rid of that. You don't want to delete this information because this is where you're going to be asking Excel to retrieve that information from. So let's click on the cell We're going to go up to our ribbon up here, and we're going to click on Data tab. You want to go to the right, and it's this called this tab called Data Validation. And let's click on Data Validation. We're going to click on under the settings and allow. Click on this drop down, and we want to go list. We want to choose the source. Here, you want to highlight this source here. You want to click and drag your list of words that you want people to choose from. And it created the formula for us here. That's the source. Okay, so you want to do settings, list, and source. If you went to another tab and just highlighted that, your list, it would still be okay. It would pick up this here, but we can kind of double check B16 to B20. That looks correct. Column B, row 16 all the way to B20. Let's click OK. So when your staff comes here and let's say they start, okay, or not, let's say, this person hasn't started, it'll automatically let them choose from a drop-down menu, which is a really great feature. Now I want to copy all these down. There's an easy way to do this. I mean, you could copy and paste, but you can click here in the cell. You go to the bottom right of the cell, and you see how it changed from like a big plus sign to like a very small, just single line cross or plus sign. You can that's what you're looking for. You want to click and drag all the way down, and it'll create that same function for us, drop-down menu in the rest of those cells. So really convenient. Let's just kind of do some random stuff here, just so you can show you some more cool options. Okay. So another feature that's really convenient. Let's say you wanted to color code these as well. This is like part two of this specific data validation. And drop-down menu is you can do something called conditional formatting. This is where you assign essentially rules to these cells. And you can do a lot of different things. But the rule that I'm looking for is we want to change the colors on each of these to this text. So you want to click on the cell that we're working with. I can click all of them. You want to go up to the ribbon again, and you want to click on home, and it's going to be to the right. It's going to be this one called conditional formatting. Let's go ahead and click on it, and we're going to create some rules here. And we're going to click on new rule. Okay. It has a lot of options. The one we're looking for is format only cells that contain. So we're telling Excel that if the cell contains not a value, but we're doing a specific text. So we're telling it, and I'm copying just the status. Let's say not started of this specific text. We want it to be we can ask it to be a specific color, a different boldness. I can show you here. So click on format, and we can choose different fonts. We can choose a border of what the cell is going to look like. Just to keep it a simple example, we're going to choose the fill option. Let's say not started. That's not a complete red. Let's say it's a salmon color. We'll click OK, and then click OK. So here's our first rule. And these will be rows, kind of as you assign more rules, more rows will show up. So let's just apply. Let's see. Let's just see if, okay, so it did it here. Let's click another one. Let's say this John is here. He's barely started. Oh, he hasn't started. There you go. So as you see this, as if you're a manager and you're looking at this, trying to see the status of your staff, not only are there drop-down menus, but there's also color-coded, which makes it much easier for you and your staff to kind of see who hasn't started on on their projects. Let's go ahead and add another rule. Same thing. We click on conditional formatting, click on format only cells that contain. We're going to look at specific text and we're going to do halfway. Let's do halfway. And remember, this is the text that we are getting from our drop-down list. We can format. Let's do green. Okay. Click OK. And let's see, in progress. Oh, we didn't do it. Okay, so we did something wrong. So let's manage rules. Um, you can click on this one. See, we can edit, or you can, as you saw there, I double clicked, but you can edit the rule as well, and this will show up. So we must have done something, not done something. Specific text, halfway. Oh, apply. I don't think we put apply. Oh, I wonder if I misspelled it. Maybe it's a cell range. But anyways, so if you keep, the nice thing is you can keep creating a new, let's see, I can just, yeah, let's close that one. Just delete that one because it's not coming out. You can actually duplicate the rule as well. That's probably the easiest. And you can just edit it that way and then just change the text. And then this one, we wanted green. Okay. Okay. This one, let's do blue. We're in progress. Okay. Apply. Okay, there we go. There we go. See, so that's a really great feature. Really simple thing. It takes a little bit of work, especially for when you're creating different rules. But you can create rules for a lot of different things. If you're dealing with numbers, you can also create a rule. Let's say somebody hasn't started. If you're dealing with numbers, you can also do that as well. A really cool feature. Another feature here for conditional formatting. Let me clear the rules that I've created in this table. Here we go. Let's drop down. I don't want that. Let's change the rules. Let's not doing that. Well, we can do it over here. Let's just do it for this presentation's sake of time. Let's pretend it's percent completed. If you tell your staff, write a 0%. We're not started, in progress. Let's make it simple, 50, 75, 100. You can tell your staff, or you can do it on your own. You can type in based on, not starting with D0. Oh, just do it over here because I haven't done any rules yet. In progress with 25, halfway, 50, 50, and almost done 75. Not started 0 and completed 100. So we're going to do some more rules, but this is really simple. You can highlight and do conditional formatting. You can do data bars. These data bars will color code within the cells. Oh, come on. There we go. Based on the numbers that you assign. So 100 being like the most. And this is really a cool feature that you can use. But this is you manually changing these numbers, and it does take a little bit of work. Obviously, 0 would be no bars there, but that's really cool. Something simple that you could do. We can change these. Let's say somebody does 75. It changes within automatically. Let's say 50. Okay. And so what it takes the smallest to largest, and that's the way that it adjusts the bar graph, the bar graph. Let's say I put like 1,000 here. It will change. Oh, okay, we're doing percentages, so that won't work. But if you're just dealing with numbers, let's say you put 1,000, it'll change the rest of these to really, really small. Okay, so that's a really cool feature for conditional formatting. Again, this is to help make patterns and trends in your data more apparent. You can create rules to determine the format of the cells based on their values. This is also interesting, or you could use as well if you're doing, let's say you had a bunch more columns and you wanted to see, it's called the temperature data because it changes from the lowest to the highest. You could see how much how much people have completed or not completed as well. Okay, so for the sake of time, this ends the our three topics that we covered for today. The most recent one was plan a large project. We learned how to build a simple dashboard and print it out, and also track sales data by region, including learning a ton of new functions. And I highly recommend you go through and mess with these based on the data. You make sure to keep it simple. Um, your tabs down here. That's something that I learned while creating and kind of messing around with these, just so that you can keep everything organized as well. Let's go ahead and open it up to questions. I know that I see a bunch of questions coming in, or that have come in, and I appreciate Oleg for answering most of these. So thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and unshare my screen.
Yes, there's been a bunch of questions c coming through, and I've tried my best. I know some of them are pretty, I mean, we've got some pretty advanced folks out there, and some of them I'm reading the questions, I'm like, I hope I understand this question correctly. It's because with Excel, when you write something out, like let's just, I want to almost like be in the same place and just like show me what you mean. Um, Let me see if I have some questions here. We've got questions coming through right now, and we can do. Oh, somebody asked, where is the introduction to Excel? Oh, I will place a link in the chat. I have it handy.
Yeah.
So don't worry about that. I'm going to put another, and then I'll also put it in the follow-up email. So if you need the beginner class, we've got that for you.
I have it here actually, so I went ahead and put it in the chat.
Oh, well, yeah,
I linked it
you're all
earlier.
set.
Yeah, I linked it earlier. So yeah,
Let's
and
see.
we really built off of the first one as well.
Mhm.
But especially for like a large project, I know that Oleg, you had some really great features, such as uploading pictures as well, which is kind of a simple thing to do as
It's
well. It
good
just
to know.
depends
It's
how
not something
large.
people think about very often with Excel. So, but yeah,
Hmm. Hmm.
the Excel can take in images. So that's it. It makes you can make some really neat looking stuff. Just knowing some of those kind of unusual features. Let me see.
And let's see.
Would love the next level of Excel training. More of the formulas, such as sum ifs, other lookups,
Oops,
macros. Would
macros.
that be soon? You know what? Put it in the post-event survey. If there's other Excel topics you're interested in covering, definitely fill out the post-event survey and let us know because we read those surveys and we keep track of that information. So it's very possible that we'll do an advanced topics course. But I love that there's more Excel nerds here. Yeah,
Yeah.
I appreciate you folks out there.
And something that I referenced a lot, and we will include that in the follow-up email with the worksheet, is Microsoft was it lookup or Microsoft
On Microsoft
help
support, yeah, the Microsoft support
support.
pages, they're really good.
Yeah, they do a really great job of outlining what those functions are, what they do, how to use them, and even sometimes even a short video. That's where I got most of my information. Where even I, learning some of these functions as well. So we'll include those links as
Mhm.
well.
So here's a good question. This is an interesting one. Can you use two pivot tables and overlay them? For example, bars and the lines.
Ooh, that's a good question. Let me see. I don't know off the top of my head, but I know that you can have.
There's a hacky way to do that, not
Mhm.
like a direct way.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, let me share my screen. Um, Go back to the pivot tables and just move some stuff over. So you can, I kept it simple, but you can provide more information. Uh, How do I get the, oh, sorry about that. How do I do that again? You can change and include more pivot table. It's not pumping up for me. Um, Here we go. You can include more. Uh, oh no, that's not what I want. Here we go. The options. This one, no. Sorry, folks. Field list. That's the one. Okay. You can include more than just one um, data type that you're looking for. Let's say you're looking for, here I have the type. I'm looking for region. It'll tell you if you can't do that. I think it's in the way. Me too. This one, and I want by type. There we go. Okay. So as you see, and if you see it kind of down here on these fields, on the rows, it has date and type. So here it included, uh, it categorized um, by month, and also within those months, the type of sales that they had. So that's a neat feature. You could make um, a dashboard, like a pie chart, with this information, but it may be a little bit too complicated. Let's try it out. And I always like to click on recommended. Excel knows best. It's almost like AI working in the background, right?
Excel does a good job. Yeah.
And so let's just get rid of these so you can see. Oh, my computer's going a little slow. Sorry about that. Oh no. Did it close on you?
Oh, we did. Did
Oh no.
Excel? That's okay.
Okay, it is it's back up, sorry.
Yeah, we
Doing
get it. Excel was doing what's called.
too
Excel
much
was,
work
yeah. We're
processing.
working it hard. We appreciate these questions. If it was too easy, then it wouldn't be an intermediate course.
Yeah. You can still see my screen, right?
Yeah, it's back.
Okay, great. So here it did give us two pivot tables, or actually one pivot table with two different types of information. And so, yeah, it did a pretty good job. Here we can see graphically, let's say by March, I can see pants sold really well versus socks and how much. And this is average sales. Again, you can change this information on the x axis, which is the ones going, I believe, up and down. The y axis is left and right. Sorry if I confuse those two, but you can change that information. So great question. I'm glad we were able to answer it on the spot.
Yeah, you can do it like that. You can also technically overlay two tables that connect to different pivot tables. And that's another way to do it. That's a little bit more of a hacky way to do it.
Mhm.
But yeah, we don't need to demonstrate that. I think the way that you showed it was good. That
Yeah.
it's a very much more elegant way to do it.
There we go. So that actually worked well. We're actually showing data. Sometimes it doesn't, it's just so much information that doesn't work well graphically. And if it has a lot too.
Mhm. Let's see. Will you be interested in doing a training on
Oh, no,
VBA to
sorry about
create
that.
user forms? That's like advanced. I don't expect that we're going to be doing a training on VBA to create user forms. That includes some coding there. Although, I'm not going to rule it out, but no current plans to get that advanced. Let me see. Do all of these Excel tips and tricks work on old versions? My 2013 Excel, which is on my 2014 purchased computer. I'm avoiding buying a new computer at this time. It's a great question, and I know a lot of people have older versions of Excel or older computers. What do you think, Julian?
Yeah, the majority, I think, as we've seen, is the old versions may not have like recommended. You see how when I included um, the chart, it may not have the recommended charts. It may just give you the regular charts, and you kind of have to figure those things out. But for the majority, the most, these should be similar, unless you're doing some more complex things. But it just depends. I haven't gone through every different Excel, so I don't know. I can't say specifically, but I'm sure if you're buying one, get the newest one, I would assume, so that you have, the latest and greatest tools at your disposal for creating different things. So,
Hmm. Yeah. Somebody asked, what is VBA? It's Visual Basic for Applications. So Visual Basic is a kind of a programming language, and VBA is the use of that program is specifically for Microsoft applications like Excel. So you can do some coding in order to make your life easier. Presumably, write scripts to do uh, fun and funky things in Excel. Let me see if we have another question here. We've got a few different questions. Um, does the library offer discounts on purchasing Microsoft packages? That would be nice, but unfortunately, we do not. Uh, and this is good. As somebody pointed out something good, and you might have some insight in this because I don't. I haven't checked. Most of the functions are in the old version, but I don't think it has things like XLOOKUP. I think you may have to
mm.
use VLOOKUP or HLOOKUP. That is,
Oh,
I think that is XLOOKUP is one of the newer features in Excel. And somebody had asked previously, what's the difference between VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP and XLOOKUP? And it's the direction of the lookup. XLOOKUP will go in all directions, whereas VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP will only go in specific directions, making the connections between the cells. Let me take a look and see. We're
somebody
get.
had a good
Oh, go ahead.
question.
Yes.
If you have a large data table and you don't know what is the end cell, you can still get you could still get the information. It just depends how much data you want to retrieve from there. I know if you create a table,
So here's
you can keep adding more rows to it, and it'll still grab, when you click on the table, it'll still grab the whole table
so
instead of having to end.
uh,
Mhm.
Oh, sorry. I don't. This might be so. If you have a giant data set, you have a huge column, and in order to avoid scrolling all the way down, which would take a long time, you can hold the control button and press down, and that'll take you directly down to the bottom of the table, wherever there's text entered, wherever there's any kind of, and it takes you to the first empty square, and then you can see what the end is, maybe. But that would be a shortcut for something like that. I guess you can also, yeah, you can hit Shift and down, and that'll select the entire column or the entire column where there's until you get to the first empty space. If there's a lot of empty spaces in your table and it's gigantic, you might sort it first, so that you get all the empty spaces at the end or the beginning, and then use the control and down.
Good to know. Good to know. Somebody, see some people kind of recommending things for the next, if we have a next class, could you include further information about conditional formatting and using formulas? Yeah, that'd be great.
Put it in the
We'll get a
post-event
little,
survey.
yes.
I will
Somebody else,
compile all of that stuff.
somebody also asked, you're able to convert a pivot chart to a combo chart, i.e. both bars and lines, which is what I think another person was asking about. Can instructions for combo charts be included in a future webinar?
Put it in the post-event survey. I'm just tickled that people are interested in more Excel stuff. I really like that. I appreciate you all for telling us what you're interested in. Let me see. I think we're getting towards the end here of our questions, and we're at time. So if you do have questions that we weren't able to cover, then maybe some of the questions were pretty specific and a little bit beyond our scope as an intermediate course here, feel free to just respond to the follow-up email. We'll help as we can. As Julian mentioned earlier, Microsoft Support has an excellent web page with not just text of the different functions, but also videos. And I know, Julian, you mentioned that as well. There's some really good videos, and there's a lot of
Mhm.
good YouTube channels that demonstrate some really fun stuff with Excel. Because Excel is a very powerful program, as you can see just from this intermediate course of what you've been showing us, Liam. All right, so we're towards the end here, and I just want to take a quick second to post the post-event survey link into the chat. And of course, we welcome and appreciate the couple of minutes that it takes to fill that out because for you, it's a few minutes, but for us, it's very useful information to make these classes better. So once again, Julian, thank you so much for this informative presentation on intermediate Excel. And I thank you to all the folks out there for being with us, asking your questions, and recommending this class on YouTube to people who you think might be interested. With that, we'll see you next time.
Thank you so much, everybody.